Fortune and Strife features subjects which can be uncomfortable for a general audience, such as the use of drugs and alcohol, poor treatment of people of different classes or cultures, adult situations, psychological trauma, deprivation, survival, natural disasters, and violence. Listener discretion advised. In addition, these next few episodes of the show contain cultural and historical content based upon the peoples of Asia and the Far East. We are coming at this from a place of respect and genuine interest and a love of these cultures, places, and history. We may not get it 100% right all the time, and we ask you to bear with us and give us the benefit of the doubt, and we would let us know when we get it wrong. We want to be an ally in dispelling Orientalism that has affected the Asian and Middle Eastern communities around the world. Welcome to Fortune and Strife. I am Robert, or Bayoshi Shinichi, and I'll be your host and narrator.
I am Jeanne, and I am playing Doji Gen.
I am Tyler, and I am playing Akoto Ricci. Let's play some L5R in the Burning Sands.
Ricci, you wake in the heat of the afternoon in a darkened tent, from the best way you can make heads or tails of it immediately. You're luckily not outside. You're not in the elements. And while it is warm, it is not overbearing at the moment. It's a bit stuffy, but it's not terrible. There seems to be some heavy canvas walls on all sides of you there, and you're dressed in a thin, long cotton tunic of some sort, kind of like a yukata, but without having a kind of the robe open seam down the center. It's kind of an all one piece garment, but it feels loose and cool on your skin. And here you find yourself.
First thing I'm going to do is look around for my katana.
And you don't see it anywhere, at least in the immediacy of the tent here.
Okay, with that out of the way, is anyone else around?
Hayate is in here also, now that you're kind of adjusting to the dim light and kind of looking around and maybe sitting up, and as you're looking for your katana, you will see he's there, and he is also resting, but dressed in a similar garment to you, except his is now a kind of a dull tan to your more white.
Okay, let's head on over to him and just give him a once over and see how he's doing. Is he alive? Looks like he's in pain? Is he just asleep?
Sure. He is looking like he's fairly all right. He has still some severely chapped lips and whatnot, but as you kind of poke and prod at him and give him a little pinch on the skin to check and see how hydrated or dehydrated he is, he seems to be fairly stable and all right. He's definitely had something to drink and probably eat recently, and you're realizing that you are not famished or parched as you were before you had fallen in the desert.
Okay. With that, let me check over myself. Just see how I am, how I'm feeling. I remember having a little bit of pain in my back last time I was out in the desert, so
You're still a bit twingy and feeling tender there. But you know what? That is an excellent point. It has been some time, but not that you necessarily know that. But I think it is enough time for you to have attempted a natural recovery check. So I believe that this is a fitness test to hopefully get you to get past a critical hit. And let me go ahead and pull those rules up quick. All right, and I believe that was a lightly wounded condition, correct?
correct.
All right. There we go. Additionally, a character can attempt to heal through bed rest once per week per wounded ring. A character may make a TN3 fitness check using the ring and ignoring the modifiers to the TN the condition normally applies. If you succeed, you remove the lightly wounded condition and reduce severely wounded to lightly. So yeah, feel free to go ahead and attempt a TN3 fitness test for me.
Okay.
And again, using the ring that is wounded.
I have a Earth of 3 and a Fitness of 2, so let's go with that.
There you are.
Okay, so with that roll, I've got my 3 successes, so I do succeed there, thankfully, and 2 strife because this is an unusual place and I don't like it here.
Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and call that a bit of stress and apprehension for the strife that you suffered there. And yeah, you realize that while it's still, like I said, a little twitchy back there, you are back to your full range of motion and movement.
Okay.
But it also makes you think that you've been down and out for several days now. But at the same time, hey, that was several days of bed rest that you probably needed.
So I'll be thankful to someone as soon as I see someone else at that point.
Hmm.
So at least get up, stretch a little bit because it's been a little bit and need to get the muscles moving. Make sure I'm limber for anything that comes my way, and then I'm gonna peek my head outside of the flap of the tent.
All right. As you peer outside of the tent, you are seeing several other sets of tents. It seems to be a whole encampment here, and there are people moving about in, um, you know, clothes that somewhat match what you and Hayate are wearing now, but they are all very unfamiliar to you. You see people with brightly colored kind of head wraps and garments that some have kind of used to wrap all the way around their face to keep the sand and sun off of themselves. Um, and some are in even more severe head coverings than others. And it's not long before someone notices you and says something to others, and they all make a bit of a friendly gesture and some sort of kind of relieved sounding words come from their mouth. You're unfortunately not able to make heads or tails of it at the moment, but you feel that they are relieved to see you up and around.
I'll smile back at them, which
Okay.
feels weird to begin with, and then start making a gesture for uh, acting like I'm mimicking someone at my height or lower. Basically, trying to see if they can guide me to where Gin is at.
Got it. Unfortunately, either they are not so much catching on. Just actually, you know what? Well, I should not just dismiss that immediately. Let us try a culture check here.
Okay.
I think this is a perfect time to try and use something like that. I shouldn't just kind of shoot you down immediately here. I should give you an opportunity to try and use the skills that you have, or in this case, don't have. Give me just one moment to come up with a suitable TN here for
I,
this.
I would say I have culture at one at least.
Yeah, right. There you go. So it's something.
It's at least an attempt. I guess for this one, the best way I can do this is I'm trying to be nicer to them, and so I'm thinking I might go water stance on this one.
I think that sounds great. Yeah, you being charm and using trying to be adaptable to the situation. I think water is an excellent thing to use here.
All right. Well, that's a 3 water and a 1 culture.
All right, let me go ahead and get a TN for you before we do that, real quick here. Let's. Oh man, the more I look at this, the more I think that you are going to be around a T and a 5. I think that T and 5 has a recommendation of understanding the fears of a person of a different social class, if only for a brief conversation. So we're going with even harder than that in many ways. You know, it's not necessarily understanding the fears, but trying to communicate that you're looking for someone with someone of a totally different culture with a language that neither of you speaks. So yeah, I think we're going to stick with 5.
Okay. I've done worse before, so let's
Right?
see how this
You know,
goes.
who knows? We'll see how much you explode here on this one. Yeah.
Hmm. That's actually tempting.
Real quick before you make any adjustments to it, any kind of cultural or understanding? Like, I forget, do we have a good bedside manner, as it were, advantage or not for you here yet?
Not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could potentially try to argue Paragon of Compassion.
No, looking for your comrade that you're worried about. I think Paragon of Compassion will work here.
All right, let's go use Paragon of Compassion to help me reroll 2 of these dice.
There you go.
Well, the reroll was worse.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna wait for them to roll and get better. Oh, they're just gonna be blanks. Okay.
Well, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So at which point I'll take the 1 success. I won't take any strife on this one.
Do you want to explode anyways, just to see what happens?
No, because I would have to take the strife in order to explode.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. All right.
I'll just take the 1 success because I do have to take a die.
There you go.
So it's still a shortfall of 4, but I don't
Yep.
foresee that being a terrible thing right
It's
now.
not a terrible thing. It's not like you're making it a terrible faux pas at this point, but yeah, no. At first it's one woman, then a second kind of redirects you back into the tent that they had you staying at, and they seem to kind of be fussing over you, checking over you, kind of like how you just did for yourself and Hayate. And they bring you a bowl of how should we say? Pickled vegetables of some sort. They are of a pungent herbal kind of pickling, and they also bring you uh, a, a small pitcher of water.
I will. Mm, I'll have the water first, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll save a little bit of it. I'm gonna try these pickled vegetables. That's something I'm not really used to here.
That's fair. That's fair. But you are a gourmet, and they are a bit different. So I'm curious. Yeah, how do you think uh, Ricci would do with some kind of Mediterranean herb infused pickled olives?
Ooh,
Kind of briny olives, kind of think calamatas or those wonderful green calvados, not calvados. I'm forgetting the name of it, but yeah, some of those Spanish greens.
ooh. I think Ricci wouldn't care for it too much because that's just very bitter.
There you go. Okay, so and it is a strong flavor versus
Yeah,
some of the things that Rokugani are more used to. Yeah.
it's one of those things where he doesn't dislike it. He
Okay.
just doesn't care for it as much. It's just, oh, this is a different taste. I don't like this, but I will eat it out of kindness, kind of thing. It's not a revulsion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Gourmet does not always mean adventurous, but it can mean and whatnot. I like that idea that while you are eating them and they are helpful, and you got to remember to find the pits in them. It is something to eat. It's and the saltiness does tend to help make you feel a bit better after you've eaten them. Yeah.
There's the occasional hard bite down onto a pit, and
Hmm.
Ricci just goes,
Yeah,
ow.
and kind of one of them, very motherly, kind of taps you on the jaw and kind of rubs a little bit at your shoulder, and it's not long after that they make their exit after they see you have been settled and fed and looked after and unfortunately the what words you all share together are, they might be uh very kind consolatory words, but they pass mostly with just the meaning of tone and the way it's conveyed more than any real meaning is communicated between you all.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just have to wait here for a moment because I don't want to be rude and try to go back outside again, but I also need to find Gen and make sure she's doing okay.
So later on, that seems to be kind of on towards evening. You hear people milling about the encampment. The day's kind of slowing down. People have returned from wherever they had been off to for the afternoon, and the talk is kind of sounding well like many encampment that you've been at uh, when you've been away at war maneuvers with the different lion armies, but it's just in tones and attitudes very very different than sounding in that way. But some of the sounds still remain the same. The sounds of people getting ready to cook their evening meals and seeing friends again here and there. The music seems to be played by a few folks around fires that are being set up, and while it is different, it's also kind of reassuring at the same time. And soon you hear someone kind of calling out on the other side of the tent and they make a bit of a rustling on it when they get there, and it's very oddly accented. Someone sounding like they're trying to say samurai, but it's coming out in all the wrong kind of syllables and making emphasis on the wrong beats here and there. Clearly, someone has heard the word at some point before, but has never really used it.
At which point I'll look at them and just kind of point to myself and say, "Yes, samurai."
And he nods with you, and he kind of like makes a gesture of, kind of a come with me or exit the tent, a sweeping motion of the arm and pointing off elsewhere and saying, "Samurai." To something that he uses as a conjunction, and then says the samurai again, and as he's pointing off to the other side of the encampment.
Okay. At which point I will head in that direction and see if he leads or follows.
Sure. He goes ahead and leads you, and this is a man who is dressed in, a bit of what you are, but kind of with a little more accoutrements. He's got a one of the curved blades that the unicorn, especially the moto, might wear, or at least something similar to it, enough that it at least sparks some recognition in your mind when you see it. He's got a wonderfully bright checkered and white uh, head wrap on. He's got this fantastic mustache, and that seems to kind of be treated with some sort of oil or wax, and something that the man is quite proud of. And you'll notice that several men around the camp kind of seem to be wearing their facial hair in a very similar way. Um, it seems to be kind of a sign of those who are well, perhaps of a martial bearing, since they all seem to be clad in some bit of light armor or weapons. But so that you can kind of pick up this might be a military man that you are dealing with at the time. And uh, but you kind of see that there is a shift as you get towards one end of the camp, where you heard and actually you can almost smell the aroma of where they are setting up for the cooking of meals is hitting you before you even start to hear it too much. You are being hit with spices that you are unfamiliar with, and the smells of different, well, you're not sure, is it different animals, different sauces, different, whatever the cuisine is that's being prepared is so different, it's just kind of assaulting you all at once as you pass by where they are cooking. And this man brings you to another tent that has a couple of women sitting beside it, and they are still all kind of clothed from head to toe. And one kind of opens up the flap to the tent, and the man and the woman kind of make a bit of a uh, quickly spoken exchange, and he sits down with her, and the other one brings them some rather kind of uh, pungenty, mentholating kind of scented tea, and they motion for you to go inside as they sit and have tea outside of the tent there.
I will go inside.
And in there, you see Gen and Sweno having a short conversation that seemed to be interrupted when they heard the different people talking outside.
Well, this is not how I expected us to meet in the afterlife, but I don't believe we're there yet.
No, though I'm not sure quite how we escaped it. Oh, it's good to see that you're all right. I tried to ask a couple times, but I don't know their language.
Yeah, that's the same for me as well. Hayate had still not come around when I had left, but it is good to see that you two are, doing well at least.
Sueno nods along and makes a bit of a kind of a sardonic comment, and with a twist of her lips and a smile. And none of us had to lose any of our appendages or eyes this time to survive it.
I think it came pretty close. Again, looks mildly embarrassed for a moment and says, were it not for the blessings of Inari, I do not think we would have survived long enough. So I don't know what happened after I fell asleep.
I'm say the blessings of Inari.
Again, looks like she's struggling a lot to try and find the right words, because this kind of goes against all of her nature, her skeptical nature, and says, we were there waiting, telling stories, or waiting for an end, perhaps. Well, I had a vision, or it may not have been a vision for all I know, but it was Inari in her power as we saw her in that last minute before we were cast this direction. She had a fox spirit, I think. Bisho, I think. Judging from the markings, it looked like what the fox spirit who tried to take that took Ryoji and Mariko. But she came and she apologized for what had happened to us. She said that we had been cast almost beyond the edges of her power, but that Bisho had searched the Empire to find us. She could not bring us home, but she gave rice and a white, thick drink of some sort, and said she could offer us that and sustain us, and that help was coming. She said that Yui-san and Bisho, as well as Mariko and Ryuji, were all now in Chikushiro with her in Senkyo.
Well, if that's the case, that's one less thing we have to worry about.
Yes, I suppose. Albeit, I was I was quite at the end myself in these moments, so forgive me if I missed anything. I tried to give you some of the drink and food before I fell, but I guess the whoever these people are, were close enough by to help us.
Yeah, I'm still wondering who these people are.
I do not know. My family has some ancient ties to the unicorn from when they returned, but the stories we had in our library were very limited. This is not anything that I have read about. Have you seen our weapons? Have you seen my book?
I haven't seen anything of ours. I wish I had more information on that one, but unfortunately they've hidden our stuff away.
And you said Haate-san is doing all right?
He seemed fine when I left him. He was alive but unconscious.
Do you know anything? Well, I think we need to be grateful but careful.
Agreed. When I was walking about, this gives me a little bit of a feeling of a martial camp. I wouldn't say a war camp because it doesn't quite have that feeling. But there are skilled fighters nearby.
I presume they would not have saved us if they thought of us as an enemy, so that is a good start. We will have to be very careful to watch them and mimic what they do in terms of proper courtesy.
Well, if I have anything to say on that one, we are not in restraints. So I don't believe that we're captives. And then again, no one has proclaimed us as captives either. So
Where would we run to anyway?
fair. If I have any other advice for you, is that if they give you these small little vegetables, they have something real hard inside of them. It's not quite like a rock, but I'd be careful in eating those.
Oh, like cherries?
Yeah, like the cherries, except they're green. They're strange.
Are they sweet?
Oh heavens, no!
Oh, interesting.
They are fairly bitter.
In fact, you've probably been offered something similar at this point as well throughout the day, if not something kind of offered to you in a light oil wrapped in leaves, with another filling that would be very strong and pungent to your liking, but soft and easy to eat.
They have a thing that is like sakura mochi, wrapped in pickled sakura leaves, but it is not sweet. It is salty.
I think I might have preferred that.
That was interesting. There was some rice, but many other things. The spices here are very, very strange. But I only had one of that.
I've only had the one thing they offered me. I'm ready for something a little different, to be sure.
We will have to adapt to their tastes. I hope they don't eat beasts too much.
That I couldn't say.
We are agreed that our goal is to return to the Empire, and we will try to survive. Neither of us serves our lords trapped out here in the desert.
Agreed.
Right?
We do need to get back to the Empire.
Okay. We shall maintain face as best we can.
Ricci, I might remind you that someone has at least out here knows the word samurai, so that could be helpful if you wanted to share that.
Fair enough. So, well, there is someone here that has some knowledge of the Empire and Rokugan.
Who?
They mentioned samurai. It was the my guide over here. I don't necessarily know their name. They never offered one to me, or if they did, I didn't understand what it was. But they, at least they were learning the language, or they picked up on it somehow.
Maybe we can communicate more. And if I have paper or brush or even charcoal or a stick in the dust, I should be able to draw images that we can use to communicate.
Okay, I'll see if he's still around. And once again, I'll poke my head through the tent flap and see if I can find this guy.
Oh yeah, no, he's sitting out in front of the tent there, and he's kind of the only one having a glass of tea out of a long, or at least what you might pass for tea amongst them, out of a long, tall cup.
At which point I'll kind of like motion to him to come on over and kind of like do the little hand wave thing over.
Mm-hmm. And he kind of gets up and gives you a how should we say, a look of engagement. We'll say that. Curious what you might have to say. Yeah.
At which point I'll pull the tent flap back a little bit to allow him in.
He raises his hand to say, no, he would not. He's not going to enter.
A little indignantly, Richu will just kind of keep waving him in.
And he'll kind of wave himself off and motion for you to come in, to come out.
Sigh a little bit, turn back and say, again, can you come see this guy?
Of course, Richie-san. I get up and straighten myself, brush myself off, sort of to try and look proper as I can. I come out of the tent, and because I'm a good Rokugani, I bow to him. I bow to this.
He's kind of looking a bit embarrassed by the whole thing, and he kind of nods his head, but also kind of hunches his shoulders as if he's trying to mimic your bowing action back at you, but seems a bit uncomfortable with the whole situation.
And I will point to myself and say, Doji Gen. And I will point to Ricci and say Akoto Ricci. And I will point to Sueno and say Tado Sueno. And then I will clasp my hands and nod my head again. Trying not to bow so deep, though I feel like I should.
Kind of points a bit to himself and says, Jamal.
Jamal. All right. Try to say that. I make a gesture with my hands, like I hold one hand flat, and I hold the other hand as if I was holding a brush, and then try looking like I'm painting on my hand.
Okay. Sure thing. Let's go ahead. Let's call this. Let's start with a TN4 culture check here to communicate this over to him.
Okay. I will go ahead and stick with water as well. Because, again, we're trying to be...
I think water could still be good through charming and adaptability. Fire for inventiveness could be used as well. I think at this. In fact, I would probably give a -1 TN for using fire and a +1 TN for using earth.
Okay, just a second then.
Yeah, if that's going to help you reconsider there.
Yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and use fire, but we'll see how this goes.
There you go. So TN3 fire culture.
Okay, so I hit my TN3. I have one opportunity. I can't use the opportunity to be a little. I can't use the opportunity for being friendlier, but I do go ahead and try and use the opportunity to extrapolate the motivations or desires of another person in the scene or wider situation. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'd like to use it for. See if I can use my opportunity to try and grok what his motivation might be in some fashion.
His motivation seems to be that of someone charged with looking after house guests, but that house guest that he does not know, and so is kind of doing his best, but is kind of unsure of himself in this regard.
All right, sounds great.
But yes, you were able to communicate to him that you are looking for brush and paper and possibly some ink of some sort. And, it takes a little bit of pantomiming it again and again. He kind of seems to have understood you and makes a motion of, wait one moment. He's going to see if he can go and find that for you.
Excellent.
And he makes his way off, and within a few minutes, not long, he comes back with a looks, as someone who also has moved about with a very small traveler's kit of paints. This is another one, even though they are wildly different implements than your own. You can tell this is a kit used by someone else who must be a traveling painter and has to make do with only a limited color selection. It's got 6 different pigments, and he brings you just 2 sheets of kind of a it's a kind of a rough tan paper, very fibrous, for you to write or paint on, and a brush that is it's nice. You could definitely tell it's been used. It's an artist's brush used by someone else with the way the paint has stuck to it, but it is definitely different than anything that you have used in the past, with a small metal band near the tip.
Okay. Well, so I glance at Richie and it's like, well, what should we tell him what we were doing out here?
I don't think there's a good answer to that one.
I have an idea.
I don't even know if we know. Yeah.
All right. Let's get creative. Right. She sits down or kneels down, because that's where it is. And starts checking out the paints. It's just a little rough to deal with. And she sketches out first a picture of herself and Sueno and Ricci and Hayate. But these are just like barely more than stick figures, you know? Just a little signifier, right? So it's clear it's the four of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then she draws a cloud underneath them and then lines as if it was a great wind blowing them, like from the cloud, and then has them falling down to the ground. has little stick figures falling down to the ground. How's that?
Yeah, no, he said it and is kind of thinks it's a bit fantastical that you were perhaps picked up by a storm and deposited here, but he also seems to realize that how else is one to find bizarre foreigners in the middle of a desert, if not for some sort of fantastical tale. And so well, you have a paragon of sincerity, but he is willing to give you the benefit of the doubt that you are an honest teller of tales, even if they are a bit on the fantastical side to begin with. It might be hard for him to truly believe it, but he is going to at least give it some credence for now.
So, I will put the brush down for a second. So maybe he or somebody else could, like, if they have a question for us, they can ask it. If they don't, then I'll ask another question.
So he gives it some thought, and he turns the paper over, and he starts to draw a series of lines, and kind of one that bisects the paper almost in half from left to right, and he draws a couple other ones trailing off here and there to the top and the bottom of the page. Some of them twist about, and eventually you kind of realize that he has drawn a very rough, abstract kind of an itinerary of a road network. And he kind of points to one end on the right hand side of the paper and says samurai, and then he points to a kind of a place, a node where most of these lines have all connected into one spot, and it is definitely a hub of things. And he points to that and he says Caliphate, which at least I believe Gen would have a slight understanding of that word. Ricci might not fully grasp it, but
no idea.
Yeah, he makes sure to overly enunciate Caliphate, and then kind of offers the brush back to you and starts trying to point kind of back and forth along the main left to right road that he's kind of drawn, kind of where you like, if you know where you're at, I guess is kind of, or maybe where did you get lost, is kind of his intention, I guess, or what he's implying here.
Gen's trying to figure that out from the map, but she has no idea of what the scale is.
Exactly. You don't know the
She has, like-
scale. You don't. There's very few landmarks. I mean, he might have tried to draw a peninsula or a small body of water at some point, but it's all in just black ink, and the scale is who knows what. But as you go farther to the right, which you would guess would be east, there becomes less and less of a network of roads that branch off of each other. So you could only imagine that this would be closer to the burning sands, where yes, there is just a vast stretch of desert and scrubland that is uninhabited by both cultures. But you don't know the scale. You don't know how close. You're not even sure kind of what would be the major cities and where they would be located at, even if this map was absolutely perfect in a 1-to-1 ratio of cartography. Yeah.
I will not paint on the map because I really don't know. But I will make an expression of confusion and kind of point somewhere, because I have been heading west.
Yes.
Right.
Oh no, you guys were heading east when you got here.
Oh yeah, we were heading east. Sorry, we were heading east towards the Empire as we traveled. So I would point to a place that was west of the part where he said samurai by a little ways, without any. It's like there-ish. I don't know.
There you go. But yeah, very, very unsure of yourselves, and he kind of is getting a little frustrated, and he's kind of like plucking and tugging at his mustache a bit when you hear someone call and use the name Jamal, and he shoots upright and gives a where you would probably bow to a superior. This man is clearly giving some sort of salute that that this culture must use when addressing a superior, and goes and speaks with the man. And it's about that time that you realize, standing out amongst these men, that they are taller than all of you. I mean, it's especially noticeable for you, Ricci, now that you are like seeing Gin next to Jamal. He's a good 4 to 6 inches taller than you are, but against Gin, it's a full head or more taller than she is. These men are definitely of a larger build than your typical Rokugani.
Oh, good. More people like the crab.
There you are. And the superior to Jamal, who is himself even bigger, broader in shoulder, taller than Jamal, a very imposing man, points at the two of you, and kind of just growls out the word samurai. Much weaker grasp of it than Jamal, and with a kind of a rough motion of his hand, makes a chop towards himself, as if he wants you to follow him.
All right.
Guess we'll follow along.
Yeah, I'll quickly roll up the paper and take the brushes and paints, because that's what I got.
Yeah.
And follow.
But
call Sueno along.
There you go. And Sueno comes out and kind of takes the paint kit off your hands, and will carry that for you as you guys make your way behind them. So yeah, there's now the large, imposing man who is, the crab is a good descriptor, especially for this one in front of you. The bit of scowl that he carries, the fact that he's still in this armor made of small metal plates, all stitched together to what appears to be a leather arming jacket, and Jamal follows after the three of you, kind of keeping pace. And you all make towards what is obviously the largest and most decorated tent within the encampment. I'm Robert, or Bayoshi Shinichi, your host and narrator, thanking you once again for listening. Remember to catch new episodes every Monday. If you want to catch them early or are looking for more bonus content, please consider becoming a supporting member of the Patreon at patreon.com/CourtGames.
I am Tyler, and I've been playing Akoto Ricci. You can find me on my personal accounts on Twitter at ChurcherGames or on Twitch, also as ChurcherGames. You can find the show on the web at CourtGamesPod.com, on social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram under Fortune and Strife, and on Twitter at L5RFNS. If you would like to contact us, you can email the show at fortuneandstrife@gmail.com.
This is Jeanne, aka Kakita Kaori, and also known as, at least today, Doji Gen. You can find me at my blog at the Winter Garden of the Kakita website, along with helpful materials for the RPG, and also on Twitter at White Veils or on Facebook. If you like, I am also found on the Court Games RPG podcast as a writer for Emerald Legacy, or check out The Table Is Yours for fiction readings of the FFG stories.
This has been Fortune and Strife, a Court Games production in association with D20 Radio Network and the Rokugani Historical Society.
Correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com